Good morning, brothers and sisters. Welcome to our special presentation today. Um, okay, so at this point, I'd like to share my slides. Mhm. Can you see my slides? Is it okay? Okay, everyone. So, welcome to the CheonBo Family Education with the theme The Divine Principle and CheonBo Works for a Heavenly Unified Mind and Body. So today is a topic I would like to share entitled The Fall of Man and CheonBo Works. So, as our beloved True Mother had mentioned, we are going towards Vision 2027 for Asia Pacific. So let's work together to really bring victory for 2027. So this topic is about chapter 2 of the Divine Principle, the Human Fall. Section 1, the root of sin. Let's discuss about this root of sin and the question on the origin of evil and suffering. So we know that many stories were being told about the origin of evil, and one of it is the famous story of the Pandora's box. It is a Greek mythology, actually saying that a certain gift was given by the gods to Pandora because Pandora was about to be married with one of the gods. So she was given a special gift, which is a box. This box, when given to her, she was told this box is a very precious box. So do not open before marriage because this is a wedding gift. This is for you, but it's a wedding gift, but you should not open, right? Before marriage. So after marriage, you can open, but before marriage, please do not open. You cannot open. So this was the instruction, the guidelines given by the gods to Pandora. However, the story goes that Pandora was so curious about what's inside the box, so she thought like, "Oh, I'll just look at it a little bit, no, not really open it, check what is really inside, just a little bit only." But when Pandora did it, what happened is that she cannot control anymore, and all these elements like inside the box came out. These evil elements came out and spread around the world. So he's supposed to close the box and open only after marriage, but because she opened before marriage, it became a problem. This is according to the Greek mythology. However, in the Bible, in the Christian Bible, there's a story about the first man and woman, Adam and Eve. And in this biblical story of the fall, Adam and Eve were given the commandments, right, by God. And that commandment says, do not eat the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. For on the day you shall eat of it, you shall surely die. So this is the instruction, the commandment given by God to Adam and Eve. But according to the story, the serpent, see, as you can see, the serpent tempted Eve. And then this serpent told Eve, you can eat the fruit, it's okay, like that. Anyway, Eve ate the fruit, and eventually it became a big problem. They were chased out of the Garden of Eden because of this kind of sin. So this commandment actually is written in Genesis 2:17. It says, "Do not eat the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, for on the day you eat of it, you will die." But we know that Adam and Eve ate the fruit. So what is this fruit? What kind of fruit is this? We can say that this fruit is definitely a symbol. It is not a literal fruit like a apple or banana. No, that this is what? A symbolic fruit. Why? Because after Adam and Eve eat the fruit, sin was transmitted from generation to generation. If they eat only a literal fruit like an apple, this kind of sin cannot be transmitted from generation to generation. And then, at the time, is Adam and Eve hungry? Are they hungry and because they want to survive, or they will die uh, if they will not eat because very hungry, then they have to eat? No. At the time Adam and Eve are not hungry, they are well provided, no, in the Garden of Eden. So is this a test that is like punishable by death? This cannot be a test, right? Why? Because God is a God of love. He will not test his children to the point of death. No parent will give a literal fruit and put poison on it and then test your child whether she will obey or not. And then if she will not obey, she will die. No. No parent of love will do like this. So this fruit is not a test, cannot be a test. And that this fruit is also extraordinarily stimulating. So even though the point of death, even death cannot stop them from eating it. So is there a literal fruit where you will exchange your life, no, for the sake of that fruit? Is there a fruit whose value is greater than life? I don't think so. So this fruit cannot be a literal fruit. It is a symbol of something greater than life. Now that's why Adam and Eve really ate this fruit. But look, what happened after the fall? After Adam and Eve sinned, what part of their bodies did they cover? According to Genesis 3:7, they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves loin coverings, which means actually the sexual area. They covered their sexual organs. You know, this is very important to note, no, because it is the tendency of man to hide or cover the part of the body that committed sin. For example, if you saw something not good, then what will you do? You cover your eyes, right? If you did something wrong with your hand, for example, you cheated and then you put the answer in your hand, you wrote it in your hand, your teacher caught you, what will you do with your hand? Hmm? You cover, you hide, isn't it? If you said something bad, something wrong, what will you do? You cover your mouth. Oh, that's wrong, like that. If something wrong with your teeth, like one of the tooth missing in front, what will you do? You cover. If something is wrong, you cover. In the case of Adam and Eve, if they have eaten a literal fruit, they would have covered their mouth, right? But the reality is that they did not cover their mouth. They cover their sexual organs. So what we're saying here is that they must have committed the sin involving the most holy and the most sacred part of the body, which is the sexual organ, because they covered their sexual organs. According to the Quran, in the result, they both ate of the tree, and so their nakedness appeared to them. They began to sew together for their covering leaves from the garden. Thus did Adam disobey his Lord and allow himself to be seduced. Look at that. Allowed himself to be seduced. So in the Quran, it's quite really direct and clear. Adam allowed himself to be seduced. So this talks about some kind of a sexual kind of scene, no? Sexual activity. So what crime did our first ancestors commit? We can say for sure that Adam and Eve's reaction is that they were ashamed of their sexual organs. We can say that the crime committed by the first man and woman, Adam and Eve, must have been a crime involving an illicit sexual relationship. They committed sexual relationship, illicit sexual relationship, that is a time when they are not yet supposed to do it. No? So when God gave them the commandment, do not eat of the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, it is actually a direct word from God. Do not commit sexual relationship before you reach maturity. For on the day you do it, you will suffer. You will die. Something like that. So it's just like the guidance from a concerned parent, right, to their teenager daughter or son, still not yet ready to get married, right, teenager. So saying like, "Oh, my son, my daughter, do not have sexual relationship before marriage. You're not yet mature. You're not yet ready. Do not do it. Okay? If you do, you will have problem." Hmm? Yeah, anyway, After you reach maturity, you're ready financially, you're ready socially, you're ready emotionally, like that. Then I will be the one to even arrange your marriage. No? But before that, before reaching maturity, do not do it. So this is just like the guidance from a concerned parent. But Adam and Eve did not obey God's commandment. They violated God's commandment. They had sexual relationship. So what is the meaning of that fruit actually? That fruit that Adam and Eve could not eat actually is the love of Eve. Eating the fruit means engaging in a sexual love relationship. You know, trees reproduce by their fruit, isn't it? People also conceive children through their sexual love. So, trees represent people, and its fruit represents the sexual love, no, relationship. Eating the fruit means engaging in a sexual relationship. So, what happened in the Garden of Eden is that the premature and illicit sexual relationship of the first human ancestors is actually the origin of human evil. So you must be asking questions like, oh, how come only having sexual relationship and then everything already destroyed like that? How come? But remember, at the time of Adam and Eve, they are the only man and woman. They are the first man and woman. Anything they do has great impact to the future generation, to the children that will come from them. In their case, they're supposed to build a good family with a good relationship centered on God so that they can build a good family that can multiply to become a good tribe, a good society, a good nation, and a good world. However, when they started having relationships that they are not yet ready, it's just like a teenager having a relationship and they are not yet ready, and then they had children and they are not ready. So what do you do? How do you take care of your children? You don't know how to take care of your children. You cannot have a good and a loving relationship with your wife, with your husband. You will tend to fight, right? In fact, one evidence that Adam and Eve did not really it's not ready to have a family is that the elder brother Cain killed the younger brother Abel, isn't it? So when the children kill each other, what does that mean? That means that the parents were not able to guide their children well. Maybe Adam and Eve fought a lot in front of their children because they're still young, they're not yet ready for a relationship, and then finally they fight each other. So when parents fight each other in front of children, children will what? Learn also how to fight. Until finally, the elder brother killed the younger brother. And so, the family of Adam and Eve is very clear. It's a problematic family. They did not establish a God centered family, they established a problematic family. And then, this problematic family, what will happen? Children will grow up to become problem of the society, of the nation, and of the world. So, uh, what is actually the original plan of God in the creation of Adam and Eve? In the creation of Adam and Eve, Adam and Eve would have become a person whose mind and body are united. You know, the mind has what we call the spiritual desire. And that is the desire to seek for truth, beauty, goodness, and love. So this should be the number one in our life, the priority in our lives. And number two, we have the bodily desire, which is individual purpose for survival. If you're hungry, your body will tell you, eat, no? Or you sleep, you drink, no? You have sex. Those are like secondary. Secondary desires means supporting the desires of the mind, which is the priority. So if this is the case, if only Adam and Eve reach the maturity where their mind and body are united and the mind is the priority, bodily desire is the secondary, then Adam and Eve would have naturally lived for the sake of others, no? Naturally seeking for truth, beauty, goodness, and love more than eating, sleeping, drinking, or having sex. So, when Adam and Eve committed the sin, like having this illicit sexual relationship, what happened after that? What happened? The body becomes number one. The bodily desire becomes number one. Individual purpose became priority. So eating, sleeping, drinking, having sex becomes priority. And then seeking for truth, beauty, goodness, and love becomes secondary. So when the bodily desire, which is centering on the individual purpose, becomes number one or priority in our lives, then we what? Live for the sake of myself. We become selfish. And the purpose for the whole, seeking for truth, beauty, goodness, and love, which is actually living for the sake of others, becomes number two. And so what happened is that the body became very strong and become like controlling the mind or the conscience. So Adam and Eve basically became selfish, living for myself. This became a tragic, history, and that is the fall of man. When the body becomes number one and the mind's desire becomes number two. So in the Bible, you can see it is written, do not commit adultery. Even in the Quran, do not come near adultery, for it is a shameful deed and an evil opening the road to other evils. In Dhammapada, in Buddhism, better to swallow a red hot iron ball, which would consume one like a flame of fire, than to be immoral. Oh my goodness, look at that. Rather than to be immoral, no, it's better to consume a flame of fire. No, my goodness. Again, in Buddhism, four things happen to the thoughtless man who takes another man's wife. Number one, the degradation of the soul. Two, a frightened pleasure. Three, the danger of the law. And four, the path of hell. In Hinduism, in Bhagavad Gita, from lustful passions comes the confusion of the mind, then loss of memory, then negligence of duty. From this loss comes the ruin of reason, and the ruin of reason leads to destruction. So it's just like if you cannot control your sexual desire, your lustful passions, it will lead you to destruction. This is Hinduism. How about Sikhism? In Sikhism, in Adi Granth, sexual relationship with another's wife is like eating poison. In Jainism, it is better to die than to indulge in partaking of forbidden, lustful pleasure. In African religions, adultery is the worst deed that man and tyrants commit. In Taoism, you can see prostitution is the head of evil, according to this famous Chinese proverb. So you can see all religions in their holy scriptures, it is written that sexual immorality is really the worst sin man can commit. How about for some sociologists, no, who conducted some kind of study in our time, no, today, the reality, no, in our society, many sociologists made a study and made conclusions that the young people of today actually committed these common mistakes, no? Like alcohol, drinking alcohol, cigarette smoking, marijuana, run away from home, arrested by police, suspended from school, attempted suicide. And you can see here, the blue color is the virgin, the red color is non-virgin. So they found out that non-virgins, as you can see, when it comes to alcohol abuse, you can see non-virgins tend to do it more than those who are virgin. Same for all the other common mistakes committed by young people in the society. So their conclusion is that if you lose your virginity, you have a greater tendency to commit this kind of mistakes in your life. So it's easier, to smoke, to drink, to take drugs, even to commit suicide once you lose your virginity. So this is very, very important. Young people should really keep their virginity because this it's very important for you to grow to become a wholesome person, no? And really grow to become a matured person that can really become a good father, a good mother in the future. Also, for girls ages 12 to 16 years old, You can see here, attempted suicide, leaving school, arrested by police, marijuana use, no? So the green color is a virgin, the purple color, violet, is a non-virgin. You can see that the non-virgins commit more of these mistakes, no, for girls who are sexually active from 12 to 16 years old. So our conclusion is very clear here, brothers and sisters. If we keep our virginity, we tend to have more self control, self discipline. But if we lose our dignity, our virginity, it's very easy to commit these kinds of mistakes like suicide, no? Leaving school, arrested by the police, marijuana use. Another study conducted from the Heritage Foundation, they found out that those young people who go to jail, they check from which kind of family these criminals, young people, no, came from which kind of family. So many of those who are imprisoned, actually, young people who are imprisoned came from, well, they have single parent as their parents, no, single parent and never married. When their parents are single and never married, most most likely their children will grow up to become criminals and problems of society, as you can see here. And then single parent divorced, no? When parents are divorced, so many children also go to jail, no? And then married parents currently separated. They have two parents but they're separated, so many also young people go to jail like this. And then two parent family, there are some case where a young person goes to jail even though he had two parents and he's living together with his parents. Why? Maybe the parents are fighting each other in front of the children, and eventually these children grow up to become also problems of society. But most problem is this one, no, single parent and never married. It's just like a case of oh, boyfriend girlfriend, and then they have sexual relationship. They cannot control their sexual desire. Eventually, the girlfriend became pregnant. The boyfriend ran away. Then when the baby was born, then anyway, the girlfriend is very angry with the boyfriend, and then baby is born, and then the baby exactly look like the boyfriend. Problem or big problem? Very big problem, right? And so that the mother, that young mother, cannot really love, cannot really take care, you know, of that son, and her life is completely ruined, isn't it? This is so, and then this son grows up to become what? Never experience love from parents, and eventually, they grow up to become criminals, problems of society. So according to this book, Family Matters, boys without fathers turn to guns and crime. Girls without fathers seem to turn to having babies. My goodness. According to True Father, family is essential for society. Immorality and licentiousness in the personal lives of adults ultimately destroy the lives of their children. The reason today's society does not have a level of happiness to match its level of material affluence is that families are being destroyed. My goodness. Even though we have advanced in science and technology, our way of living is advanced, even though we are rich, just like the nations in Europe, no, the United States, no, Japan, these are rich nations, even though they are rich, but they have so many problems, even so many problems of suicide. You can see, True Father said very clearly, the reason today's society does not have a level of happiness to match its level of material affluence is that families are being destroyed. Yeah, look at that. So, what is what, as you can see here, fallen and problematic family is actually what? Factory of criminals, rapists, killers in the society. Yeah. If there is no good husband and wife relationship, children grow up to become problems of society. They become criminals, rapists, killers. So what is the factory that produces criminals in the society? It is the family. So even though you catch these criminals, even though you put them to jail, It is not a solution. Why? Because the factory continue to produce many, many criminals. And what is that? Problematic families. So it is also the problematic families is the source of misery and misfortune. Multiplies fallen and problematic families through the sexual organs. So many children come out and then cannot take care because they don't practice true love in the family. Children grow up to become problems of society. Family that are problematic destroys the community and hinders the development of our country. It is also a breeding ground for disbelief in God. Therefore, we have to really solve this problem of problematic families if we want to solve the problems in the society. We cannot just make laws. We cannot just catch these criminals and put to jail. It is not a solution. The solution is that you have to stop the operation of the factory that produces problems in the society, criminals in the society. So, because of this fall of man that happened in the Garden of Eden, then this world became a world of misery and misfortune. Many, many people has problems and many, many people suffer on this earth. Because of this, God's heart was deeply broken. This is the reason why we have to really understand what exactly happened in the Garden of Eden and eventually present a clear solution that will solve all the problems of the world today. So, my dear brothers and sisters, this is the first part of the presentation. I will present the second part on the next schedule. So, thank you very much for listening, everyone.